The last two games, Ian is, 4 for 19 from the floor. 12 of his shots were threes. And he didn't attempt a free throw the other night. Is this him settling maybe for some jumpers, or are teams taking away the drive? And how valuable have the last two games been for him to learn about some of the ways that maybe teams are doing some different stuff to him?
Well, I definitely think it's growth in terms of the attention that he's getting and how teams have adjusted in terms of playing him, maybe being more physical with him. Obviously, he's jumped a couple of levels in regards to the scouting report and the importance of guarding him. But it was a conversation I actually had with him yesterday that one of his biggest strengths is being able to get to the basket and get to the free throw line. That's just, for him not getting to the free throw line, that's something that just can't happen. And I think that's one of the things that makes him such a gifted scorer is his ability to score at all three levels, but also be able to get to the free throw line. That's just something that has to change moving forward.
Were there any specifics from the last two games where he settled and he now goes back and he can see that and say, yeah, I should have taken the guy off the drive?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily use the word settled, but I think there are definitely opportunities that we talked about where he could have put the ball on the floor and attacked the basket. And having a choice of shoot the three or attack the basket, there are opportunities to be able to do that. And you want to mix that up. You want to have diversity in your game offensively. And I told him, obviously, I was not nearly as gifted as he was as a basketball player, but I told him that was the only stat that I ever looked at, was that I wanted to make sure that 50% of my shots weren't from three, unless I was like hot, because I wanted to do other things. I wanted to get to the free throw line. I wanted to get to the basket. I wanted to shoot the mid-range game. I just didn't want to sit there from the three-point line and settle for that. And so my hope is moving forward, he'll get to the free throw line more than 0 times the last game.
Hubert, I wanted to ask you about Elliot, and the 13 assists the other night were tremendous, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was wondering if he started so fast offensively in terms of scoring the ball. I think it was 10 points in the first 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes. Did you feel like, as you've gone back and looked at it, that maybe he stopped looking for his shot and was trying to get other people involved when maybe he should have kept on just rolling with what he had working? Like, did that occur to you or stand out to you as you went back and looked at it?
No, that really didn't stand out to me. The things that have really stood out to me, and I've talked to you guys at great length about the little details and the discipline and details that make big things happen, and just the and it goes back to the consistency of being able to do those things, and it's coming, I think, in a couple different parts. I think, at the beginning of the year, the reason why we were getting down by double figures is because we weren't consistently doing those things, and then we were coming back because we were consistently doing those things. Now, since coming back from Christmas, I think it's played a huge part in us putting us in those situations where it's like a one-possession game. I mean, we've played 9 of them thus far, and the reason that we've come out and won some of those has been because of the consistency of those little things, the box outs, the free throws, taking care of the basketball, taking good shots. And the reason that we haven't come out on top on those other games is the lack of consistency on that. So just in regards to Elliot, I haven't looked at it from that standpoint, but overall as a team of what we have to do somehow to become more consistent at those little things, so we're not in one possession games and we can sustain leads, because that's something else that we've done. We were up by 8 against Stanford and had an opportunity to extend the lead, and we didn't. We were up 16-7 against Wake Forest on the road, and the next time we scored was Ian's dunk, and in between that we had 4 turnovers. And so that's where I'm looking at overall, not specifically as a player, but overall as a team. How can we get better, and can we become more consistent?
Just to quickly follow up, I'm not trying to belabor the Elliott thing, but is that a difficult balance to try to strike when you are such a distributor like he is, maybe with seeking the offense too? Because, again, it seemed like he was really going pretty good the other night, and then maybe he just sort of stopped and was doing other things?
Yeah, I mean, he did. He had it going in terms of getting to the basket and being able to score. Um, one of the many things that I love about Elliot is his ability to understand when to do both. And he is such a gifted passer. I think some of those times he maybe even could have taken a layup, but he passed it out to a teammate. And that's the gift that he has. Yes, he can score, but like instinctively, like he just really wants to pass.
Yeah.
And so finding that balance of being aggressive and when to get his teammates involved, which he just naturally does, that's something that he continues to grow with and continues to get better at.
Hubert, when you're kind of talking about, again, the consistency of maintaining the details, doing that for a 40-minute game, I guess from your standpoint, what is from an individual basis, what's kind of required there? Is that just one of the guys kind of getting everybody else on the floor on the same page? Like, I guess from their individual standpoint, like, what does it kind of take to get there instead?
Well, I always tell them a mistake is good if you recognize it, admit it, learn from it, and grow from it. And it's something I got from Coach Smith and Coach Guthridge when I played here. We watch a ton of film so that they can recognize it and so that they can admit it. And the next step is to learn from it and grow from it. I think it's more than just one person. I think it's collectively as a team, the consistency. And when you say a full 40 minutes, it's not being perfect. I always talk to them about we have to be a disciplined team. My definition of discipline is not being perfect, but it's being committed to doing the right things the right way. And so that's something that this team continues to grow with, about being more consistent, not perfect, but consistent for a full 40 minutes to put ourselves in better situations out there on the floor.
Hubert, when you look at Boston College, what about them stands out to you and just looking at them on film?
Yeah, just, their physicality on defense, very physical, and their physicality can dictate and decide how efficiently you run on the offensive end. From an offensive standpoint, they can shoot the three. They don't shoot a high volume of threes, but they want to score consistently in the paint through post and penetration. And so that's a huge emphasis for us, is protecting the paint. A huge emphasis for us is defending without fouling, because we've struggled with that at times. And a huge emphasis for us is boxing out and not allowing teams second chance opportunities, especially at important times, and those are the three things defensively that we've talked about in regards to Boston College, but just overall the improvement for us defensively as a team.
Their big man, Venning, has been big for them in particular. How do you try to slow him down?
Well, he's really talented. He's big. He's does a really good job working hard to get his position close to the basket, and when he catches it there, it's very difficult to keep him away from the basket. He's a gifted scorer, and he's very skilled there. For us, we've played a number of post players throughout this season, and we're going to have to do a really good job, not just specifically on him, but for the entire team. But in regards to him, make him work to get that position, try to keep him out of the middle, defending him without fouling, because they use him also to be able to get into the penalty where they can get to the free throw line and shoot. And so it'll be a test for us in the paint tomorrow, but we're excited about that challenge.
Hubert, how do you navigate the mental approach with this team when the margins are so small between winning and losing, and getting them to where you're cutting down on the mistakes, but they're not thinking, okay, if I make this mistake, it could cost us the game, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think that comes from knowing your players and knowing the team. I think every team has a different personality. I think this team's personality, we've watched more tape than any other previous years as me as head coach, because they need to see it. I think holding them accountable to it, but also a balance of encouraging them as well. And you're right, there has to be a balance there, because I always tell them either side of the floor, I want them to play fast and free. And so if you feel like, and I was a player, I've been in a situation where I felt like if I missed a shot or turned the ball over, I was on the bench, and it was an awful feeling. And so I don't want them to feel that as players, and I want them to feel confident that, and I always tell them this, I said, I don't mind mistakes as long as it's made with effort and concentration. That's the only time that I lift off in practice, is when a mistake is made, when there is no effort and there's no concentration. Other than that, everybody makes mistakes. I know they don't want to miss a shot, and I know that they don't want to turn the ball over, and I know they want to be in the right spots defensively. But if you do it with effort and you do it with concentration, that really cuts down those things.
And when you have a week like you guys have just gone through, for you as a head coach, what is the delicate balance about being holding them accountable and encouraging at the same time?
I think you can do both. I mean, I'm straightforward and direct in my communication in regards to, this is what we've practiced and practiced. This is what you've been told and taught and are talented enough to do, and this is your job and responsibility. And you did it well or you didn't do it well. And if you continue not to do it well, then those are things that are going to hurt your playing time. And I'm direct and definitive in my communication with him. But I also am very direct in regards to encouraging them and them understanding that my belief in them to be able to do it, my belief in them to be able to do it at a high level and consistency, and that I'm in their corner, and that's my job, is to help and encourage them to be the best that they can be.
As a follow-up, do you have to encourage a little bit more when you have a couple of really tough losses like you just had? Because you guys have had some earlier in the year.
Yeah.
So you're at 8 now, so maybe do you find yourself having to be a little bit more encouraging because they could be a little bit fragile?
I check the temperature of the team, just like, knowing the team and knowing the personalities. There's times this year that I've been more direct. I'm always direct, but I've been louder.
Firmer.
Firmer. That's a great one. I've been more firm. And other times that I feel like what the team needs is still the directness, but less firm. And that's me knowing the team. That's me knowing the individuals. And that's why I spend so much time with them. I mean, there's some guys that I can be more firm with, and they can get it. And there's some guys that I have to go 5 miles out to be able to get my point across, because that ultimately, at the end of the day, I just want them playing at their best. So I don't care how it comes across. I just want them to understand where I'm coming from and what they need to do out there on the floor.
Hubert, you guys got, as you said, as we talked about the other night, you guys got the open shots
Yeah.
at Lake. I mean, the offense generated the open looks and you didn't make them.
Yeah.
Like, as you've looked at maybe that aspect of the loss, do you think that maybe moving forward, there might have to be a situation where you say, you know what, don't camp out in the corner. We're not going to take these threes because they're not going in. Like, it got to a certain point where they just weren't going in.
Yeah.
Is that a consideration, like in game, like, or maybe you can't even do it in game because it'd be such a drastic change. Like, is that a consideration to be like?
Yeah. There's only so many places on the floor that you can be, I mean, it's just, I tell the guys this, it's
what I'm saying,
it's
though,
corner,
right?
corner, wing, wing, top of the key, block, block, elbow, elbow. I take away 2 corners, and the spacing's not going to be very good there.
I hear you. You know what I mean? I'm not saying don't go to the corner.
No, I
But
know what
you know
you're
what I
saying.
mean? Like,
No,
it almost seemed like Wake was going to let you keep missing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And my response to that is, and I hear what you're saying, I don't look at it that way. I don't care how good a shooter individually you are or how well you shoot as a team, there are going to be days, there are going to be nights where that shot is not falling. That wasn't the difference maker in us not coming out on the win side versus Wake Forest. We took the lead at 54-53. The next possession, we had a missed box out. They scored. We came down, missed a 3. We came back down, and we messed up on our defensive assignment, and they got another dunk. Now we're down 3. In my communication with the team has been this: we lost another game by 1. And just look at the little plays on the offensive end, little plays defensively, and say we do things a little bit the way we were supposed to do them, one or two possessions on both ends, then we're not there. So, and it's never about a missed shot. It's about plays. And that's what I look at in regards to the outcomes lately and us moving forward tomorrow against Boston College.
Time for two more.
Hubert, what have you noticed the last few days in the film session as far as the players and yourself? And
Yeah.
any differences there as opposed to earlier in the year, or what have you seen?
No, I think, I've said before that I love coaching this team. I love being around them. They're a great bunch of kids, and I believe in this team. I believe that we're nowhere close to reaching the full potential of what I think this team can be and become. And I really believe that the guys are starting to see it and start to understand it. My hope is that they do. It's practices have been good the last couple of days. Film sessions, I've been meeting with a number of the players. Those conversations have been good. The confidence and the spirit and the enthusiasm is there. They just want to play well, and they just want to see the benefits of playing well out there on the floor. And I want that for them. I like them with smiles on their faces as opposed to them crying in the locker room. I want them happy.
Anybody else?
I guess when it comes to, you mentioned, a guy like, for example, Ian, getting to the rim and just the team as a whole getting to the free throw line. Do you have like a philosophy, so to speak, of, always take the open three when it's there versus, stepping in, or, if you're not in rhythm, getting to the, like, you have like a certain communication for them in that regard as far as, yes, you're open, but if you're not in rhythm, just get to the open.
Yeah, well, when a shot is created, an open shot is created, I want all of our guys to be able to take it. I specifically told Ian, I was like, if I had your athleticism, I'd drive all the time, and be able to get to the rim, and I told him, me as a player, I wasn't as gifted as he was, so I couldn't do that. That wasn't an option for me. And so there's not a formula in terms of turn down this shot, wait 2 minutes before you take a three. And this is for all the players. I want them taking good shots. And everybody knows what a good shot is. A good shot is something that is not just what you want, is what the whole team wants, including the coaches. And it's a shot where the board is covered and where we can get offensive rebounds, where we drastically need to improve. And so, and it's growth for Ian. He was on a nice stretch, and now he's at the top of the list or near top of the list in terms of scouting report. And so I told him now it's his time to adjust to how they're playing him, and that's the growth of a player. Everyone goes through it. RJ had to go through it. Seth's going through it. Everyone has to go through it, and now Ian is going through it, and I couldn't think of anyone better to go through it with than Ian.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks,
Okay.
everybody.
Thank